Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aika. I am an incoming trainee clinical psychologist at the University of Oxford. My video is going to be a slightly different of a focus. It'll be focusing on how to journal and why you should do it. I have personally journaled since I was around 10 years old, and it has really developed my ability to be able to reflect on my own memories and also my own emotions. Journaling is not necessarily a childish thing, I'd say. If you say that being able to document your memories and being able to reflect on your emotions and becoming more eloquent in your communication is something that is childish, then yeah, swipe out now. In fact, a lot of research has found that journaling helps us become more mindful, it helps us calm us down, it helps our memory abilities and our reflective abilities clarify our thoughts and feelings a bit better in a very chaotic world, and also in a very chaotic internal world as well. It also helps us develop a stronger sense of self, knowing how we feel about things and what we think about things and how things have shaped us. It also helps us reduce some stress, helps us solve problems, helps us prioritize which problems to face first. Today's video will therefore be a very simple and short video on how to begin with journaling, separated into 4 different parts. First one is when to write. Second part would be what on earth to write. Third part will be how to actually write. And the fourth part is looking at some blocks to successful journaling. Before we actually start with the other 4 areas, you obviously have to have a nice journal that you invest some money on, that's really good quality, with good paper quality and also good quality that so it won't break down in the middle of the year. Also invest in a nice pen. Some people enjoy using fountain pens. I personally use the Uniball Eye Needle Micro Pen. When is the best time to write? And these are really important to think about, because sometimes we get stuck with very strict schedules of when we should write, but actually writing should be a little bit more natural than that, and actually there's no right way around when is the best time to write. So thinking about perhaps times of day or times of the month or times of the week that would be the best for you to write. So for example, if you would like to write in the beginning of the day, this tends to be a way to set the intention for the day, to plan out the day, to think about what kind of things you want to achieve in the day. However, if you want to write during the night, it's usually perhaps more reflective. However, you can also be setting intentions for the next day or the next week to come. Same thing applies to start and end of the month and start and end of the week as well. I don't really have a strict schedule. However, people who are just starting on learning how to journal would, I think, benefit from a little bit stricter, but not exactly strict, so more regular time of the day where they associate that time of the day with writing with. Another time that would be best to write is when you have a strong emotion. So when you feel that you are very sad, or you are very angry, or even if you are very excited or happy. So these are really good times to write, because it really helps to slow the emotion down and helps you to really reflect on it later on as well. Another really good time to write is when there is a big life transition. So for example, if you have gotten a car, or you are moving cities, or you are starting your bachelor's or your master's or your doctorate degree, or when you have a new romantic endeavor, or when you break up. These are also really good times to write. Be a good idea to write is when you have a new insight on your life. So let's say you go through the week and a huge life event has happened and you've gained a new insight, or perhaps you've read a book that's really changed the way you see something or your perspective. That's also a really good time to write, to, I guess, document the insights that you have for later on to read back. Our memories are very faulty actually, so actually after a week or two we often forget what we read. So actually journaling is a really good way to integrate that, or try to reintegrate your insights over and over again. On to the second area now. now, which is what on earth should you be writing? Now, again, there's no right formula for this. I think actually formulaic writing is very harmful to intuitive journaling. However, in order to start, sometimes we get, I guess, our minds go blank, or we have a lot of pressure to write well. So perhaps just to break the ice with your journal, you can start with something more episodic. So for example, something that is related to what you did during the day or during the week, just to, I guess, make it feel less awkward with the flow of writing, and also to, I guess, get it flowing. However, you should maybe slowly move on to how you feel or what you think about whatever you did. Now, journaling is really good to write about things that you're worried or stressed about, because it's a really good way to externalize these, I guess, negative emotions and negative thoughts in order for them to stop circling in your mind. So in order to resolve something, sometimes we need to slow it down and write it clearly, what we feel about a specific thing, and in order to, I guess, resolve it or move on in a little bit away. It also feels very cathartic as well. Maybe write about a certain memory that you had during the day, or a dream that you had last night, or a really important recurring dream that you've had, or perhaps a person that you miss, or a person that you think of, or a person that's your role model. Again, trying to elaborate why these things are important to you, or why they made a significant impact on your life on that day or in that moment. Or perhaps even a place as well. So something nostalgic can be good to write about. You can also write about things that you're excited about and also why. So perhaps future plans or future visualizations of how your life could look like. It could be a full daydream writing, so it can be completely fabricated as well. It can be very future oriented. So the third area now is how to actually write. So how does the journal kind of format actually look like? So it doesn't have to be necessarily Dear Diary or anything like that. It can be as simple as just writing the date, so the day, the month and the year, and also maybe a little title if you would like to. Just try to be as intuitive as possible with it, so just go straight in. So whatever feels right at the moment, just write that. Yeah, so initially it might look a bit weird, or it might look very incoherent, but I think that's totally fine. Slowly you will develop your style as to how you start writing, what you start writing about. Another way to write is through bullet pointing. So this is sometimes when I just can't be bothered to write properly. Bullet pointing is really useful when you just want to spill everything, when everything is going on, and you feel very overwhelmed and there's quite a few things you want to jot through and you have a time limit to your writing. So just writing some bullet points are really helpful. A third way to how to write is obviously in paragraphs, based on, for me, I found basing it on topics you want to cover, so not overwhelming yourself when you want to read it back, by just trying to separate it into paragraphs of the themes that you're wanting to write. I sometimes like to draw little graphs, or I guess little illustrations of how I feel or what I think about a certain theory, because it's probably the best way that I can express myself. So there's really no boundaries to this, and I think that's the fun bit. It's really up to you how you want to make your diary look like. So mine's extremely varied, and yours can too, or you may prefer something a little bit more unified. I think the beautiful thing about journaling is that it is really just a free flow of expressing yourself, of your internal world, and anything goes really, and it's truly quite freeing once you get the hang of it. A lot of times what I found really useful that I've only started implementing this year is to write regularly enough that if I start writing, before I write, I can read back at the same day of the previous month, or the same period of days, so let's say the start of the month of last month, and how I felt there. Okay, so final section is blocks to successful journaling. So the first biggest block is perfectionist thinking. So thinking that you must write in an eloquent way or a poetic way, or perhaps more visually having feeling that you have to have perfect handwriting, that there must be no mistakes. I think the benefits of journaling is exactly the antithesis of perfectionist thinking. So it's really just about intuitively writing, and the benefits of journaling is not needing to having this perfectionist thinking that we usually have with essay writing or writing a poem or something like that. Second block to successful journaling is making it a performative exercise. So writing in a way that is trying to impress other people, so having the thought that perhaps someone might pick this up and read it in the future, or feeling that you might want to share the journal that you just wrote. So this idea around wanting to share or to impress someone, or even to impress yourself in the future, generates a sense of artificiality that isn't conducive to very authentic types of writing. So a way to remove yourself from that block is really try to write something very shameful that you don't want to admit to anyone, so that sets the scene for the rest of your journal. So just think about it as an extension of your brain, so things that you don't want other people to know. The journal is really for yourself, so if you're trying to fool yourself or fool other people to look impressive, at the end of the day you'll only be fooling yourself. You'll also read back at your journal and feel that it's a bit detached or a bit impersonal, or that you can remember the moment that you wrote that and how you felt of wanting to impress. So you really can't fool yourself in that. And the third massive block that is to successful journaling is the shoulds and must thinking. So the feeling that you should write at a specific time of day, or you should write every single day. These kind of shoulds and musts are very unhelpful, or particular themes that you feel like you should be writing. So you should be writing about some deep reflection, or you should be writing more positively, or you should write 5 pages each day. I think journaling is more of a meditative practice where you just want to fall into it rather than feel like it's another tick box exercise to do. That said, it is quite difficult in the beginning to generate that momentum to start naturally writing when you feel like it. So some regularity in order to build that momentum in the beginning might be quite useful. So that's the end of the video now. Hope you really enjoyed my little insights on how to journal, and I really hope that you can try journaling. I feel like it's a very therapeutic thing to do and to integrate into your life. Hope you enjoyed this video that's slightly different to my typical very psychology careers related videos, or how to get a first and things like that. If you enjoy it, please comment down below and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week. Bye.